Today we're going to Australia, but not to see kangaroos or koalas, rather to solve a case. For 70 years it's been driving detectives crazy. Imagine a quiet beach on a sunny day and the police come across a body. This person has no ID, no money, and no identifying marks. It's as if he fell from the sky. This case started in 1948 and got its name, the Somerton Man. But that's just the beginning. This unidentified body leads us into a story involving spies, heartbroken lovers, and, most importantly, there's a Persian poem involved. Yes, you heard right. A piece of paper is found with just 2 Persian words written on it. Tamám Shud. It is finished. These 2 simple words turned the case into one of the most complex and famous criminal mysteries in the world. Today, we want to dissect this story step by step. From how this man died from an invisible poison to decoding that strange and mysterious notebook. So fasten your seatbelts, because this mysterious scientific and historical adventure is officially starting. It's December 1st, 1948, on Somerton Beach in the city of Adelaide, Australia. 2 horseback riders, early in the morning, spot a man leaning against the seawall, sleeping peacefully. He's wearing a stylish suit with clean, well-ironed shoes. He didn't look homeless at all. The guy looked so classy, even in death, that people thought he was just sleeping. In fact, the night before, a couple saw him brushing mosquitoes away from himself. But when they checked on him in the morning, they found he was no longer alive and his body was completely cold. When the body was taken to the coroner, that's when the story really began. All the tags on his clothes had been cut off. Tags from his clothes, his shirt, his tie, everything. It was as if someone wanted to make sure this person could never be identified no matter what. He had chewing gum, a comb, and 2 packs of cigarettes, each a different brand. There was an unused train ticket to Henley Beach and a used bus ticket. What does that mean? Did the person come by bus and just happen to have an extra train ticket? This is where it stops making any sense. After the autopsy, the coroner said, his heart was completely healthy and so were his lungs. There were no signs of struggle or external violence, but then what was the cause of death? Poisoning, and with a very strong poison at that. Yet there was no trace of it found in his stomach, as if the poison had evaporated. This means it was probably a rare and fast-acting poison. Since the police couldn't find any clues, they decided to go to Adelaide train station. They guessed that maybe a suitcase had been lost, and sure enough, they found a checked brown suitcase that no one had claimed. Let's see what was inside the suitcase. Clothes, slippers, shaving supplies, and again, pieces of clothing. Some of the clothes had been cut with scissors, and there was an orange thread that was later traced to a tailor shop in Australia, which means our case is getting somewhere. In a way, it connects to a local person, not a... The tourist case was about to be archived when the detective decided to examine the poor man's clothes one more time, and in his small hidden pocket, which is usually used for pocket watches, they found a piece of paper. It was a small folded piece of paper, and only 2 words were written on it in Persian. That was it, and these 2 words turned the Somerton case into an international case and essentially became the name of the case. The case was closed, and then the detectives published the paper, and they asked the public that if anyone knows, where did this paper come from? Let us know, until a man comes forward and says, "Sir, I have a copy. I have a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, from which the last page has been torn out, and this book was a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam that had been printed in New Zealand." The police take the book and see, yes, exactly the part where the phrase Tamám Shud was located has been torn out, and now we get to the exciting part of the story. Under the light, using basic methods, they realize that there are several indentations. It's as if someone had written something on the underlying pages, and yes, a strange encrypted message appears, and the message looked like this. The first line was written in Latin. And then the second important line, and subsequently the third significant line. And on the last line it was written, and this is where we're no longer in control of the situation. This is a code, and in 1948, right at the height of the Cold War, this is when the spy theories immediately started. The Somerton Man was a Russian spy who was eliminated by his colleagues and rival organizations. But no one, not the Australian intelligence services nor even specialized agencies, was able to crack this code. To this day, this code remains unsolved. Now let's go back to that poetry book. On the inside back cover of the Rubaiyat, a phone number was also found. a number belonging to a nurse named Jessica Thompson who lived in the suburbs of Adelaide. The police also contacted Jessica. At first, Jessica denied any acquaintance with the Somerton Man. But when the police showed her the man's face, she apparently trembled and almost fainted. One of the detectives said it was obvious that this woman was lying and that she knew the man. Jessica also admitted that she had given a copy of the Rubaiyat of Khayyam to an army officer. The officer's name was Alfred Boxall, but Alfred was alive, so the story became even more complicated. Was Jessica involved in a secret relationship? Yes. Friends, in 1948, secret affairs were carried out not through Instagram DMs, but by exchanging Persian poetry and tearing pages out of poetry books. You can see the level of romance here, and further investigations showed that Jessica was near the Somerton Man's residence at the time of his death, and she might have even seen him. So why did she lie? Why was she afraid? And then, the dominant theory became that the Somerton Man was a spy who had fallen in love with a woman. An Australian woman, Jessica herself, and when he wanted to leave the organization or the country, he was eliminated with poison. That phrase, Tamám Shud, was his final message. It was both a final farewell to Jessica, and this is the version that Hollywood is in love with. Years passed and the case went cold. But there was a researcher named Professor Derek Abbott. Using new methods of genetic genealogy and DNA analysis from hair samples, he announced in 2022 that he had discovered the identity of the Somerton Man. Professor Abbott claimed that the Somerton Man was Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker. A simple Australian name, this discovery put the whole spy theory into question. But even with this discovery, the mystery of his death wasn't solved. Why would an electrical engineer die from a rare poison? Why were all the tags on his clothes removed? So, this game isn't over yet, and the story of espionage, codes, and hidden figures still continues. And yet, the Somerton case has a big lesson for us. This case shows us that sometimes real-life stories are far more complex, strange, and mysterious than any Hollywood spy movie. In the end, this case is a tragedy of a man whose very identity was only uncovered by artificial intelligence and genetic science. But the reason for his death and the meaning of those two Persian words in 1948 remain unknown. Maybe it's truly better for some secrets to remain secrets. Now you tell me, which theory do you believe? Was he a spy who was eliminated? A lover who lost hope in his love and committed suicide? Or just an ordinary engineer who got caught up in a mysterious affair? So leave your thoughts in the comments for me, and if you enjoyed this episode, follow me. So until the next podcast, goodbye.